Hello, in this video I will explain the history, geography, economy, and culture of Brazil. I hope you like my video. Let's start now. Brazil is the largest and most famous country in South America. Known for its football team, this country also has a very colorful and diverse culture. Visitors to Brazil can enjoy delicious food, fun parties, and interesting people. Brazil is spread over a huge area of 8.5 million square kilometers and has many different cities and regions. Two of these cities are places that reflect the essence of Brazil, and here you can see the country's way of life up close. I would like to introduce these cities to you. Firstly, let's take Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo is the most populous city in Brazil and has a population of 22 million. One of the 5 most populous cities in the world, Sao Paulo is both dangerous and exciting. Here you can find some of the best parties in Brazil, but also some of the worst crimes. Sao Paulo is located on the east coast of the country and is part of Brazil, which consists of several states. Sao Paulo is also the economic and cultural center of Brazil. Here you will find many art galleries, museums, theaters, and restaurants. Sao Paulo is the most immigrated city in Brazil, and people of different ethnic origins live together here. This makes the city have a very rich cultural diversity. Since Brazil has an extremely large surface area, the country is divided into states just like the United States of America. This city is built on the hills in the southeast of the country. This city, the capital and name of the state of Sao Paulo, is the financial, commercial, and industrial center of South America. This city, which has its own state flag, is very close to the sea. Although it is not as famous as Rio de Janeiro, it is the second most talked about city in Brazil. The view of the city is very impressive from above. Rivers flow through the city, and high-rise businesses rise towards the sky. Traffic is very busy, especially at noon, and people are constantly on the move. The architecture of the city reflects the Spanish and Portuguese influence. The weather is always hot in Sao Paulo. It is possible to see half-naked people in the squares. This is considered normal in this country. I respect people's freedom, and here everyone can dress as they like. The streets of the city are full of music and dancing. Even though the country's economy is not good, people do not stop being happy. Even if the weather is cloudy, people join the fun and find something to enjoy. If you come here alone and have some money in your pocket, it is very easy to make friends in such places. People here are very relaxed and live life the way they want. People are also confident in their physical appearance and are comfortable with themselves. Most Brazilians are light-skinned. This is due to the large number of immigrants from Europe in the past, especially from Italy, Portugal, and Spain. These migrations have greatly influenced the genetic makeup of the population. Therefore, it is safe to say that Brazilians are very similar to Europeans. In this city, the roads are clean and crowded, but it is a living place outside of football. It is a city full of life, and you can see graffiti on the walls of the buildings against the cost of living. People here do not like to stay at home. They have fun on the streets until late at night. Especially on Sao Paulo's match days, thousands of fans flock to the stadium. The average monthly income in this city is around $600, $700. If you're planning to come to Brazil to earn money, you may be very disappointed. Even in a metropolis like Sao Paulo, it can be difficult to pay rent. The average monthly rent is 5,000 Brazilian reais, about $1,000. Generally, immigrants from Europe and America can afford better housing. Likewise, they can enjoy luxuries inaccessible to locals with low purchasing power. However, the health system is not very good. Public hospitals are of poor quality and overcrowded. Those with a residence permit can get free health care. Therefore, it is very valuable to have such an opportunity in Brazil. What is it like to live in Brazil? The answer to this question may vary depending on which city you live in. Take Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, the 2 largest cities in Brazil. Both of these cities reflect the richness and diversity of Brazilian culture, but they also face many challenges. Sao Paulo is known as the largest and most populous city in South America. People living here have many opportunities for work, education, arts, sports, and leisure. Sao Paulo is also famous as the gastronomic capital of Brazil. Here you can find flavors from all over the world. You should especially try local specialities such as pizza, sushi, pastel, and feijoada. Rio de Janeiro is considered the most touristic city in Brazil. It is famous for its natural beauty, beaches, carnivals, and exciting nightlife. The people living in Rio are friendly and cheerful people who know how to enjoy life and have fun. Here you can sunbathe on world-famous beaches such as Copacabana, Ipanema, and Leblon. Visit the statue of Christ the Redeemer on Mount Corcovado or the Sugar Tower. However, these cities also have some downsides. The economic situation in Brazil is not very good, and this affects the quality of life of people living in Sao Paulo and Rio. The minimum wage in the country is around $250, and the unemployment rate is close to 15%. Taxes are also very high, and purchasing purchasing power is low. If you want to buy an iPhone 15 Pro Max, you will have to pay more than $1,100 in the US and more than $2,000 in Brazil. Therefore, many people live in poverty, and there is a homelessness problem. Sao Paulo and Rio are home to the world's largest slums. The most famous of these is Heliopolis. People living in Heliopolis are discriminated against and have difficulty finding work because these neighborhoods are seen as dangerous and crime rates are high. When we look at the lifestyles of people in Brazil, we can say that they do not consume too much red meat. There are red meat dishes in Brazil, but you may not always be able to reach them due to the high cost of living. Brazilians are mostly fed with foods such as rice, beans, corn flour, vegetables, and fruits. Brazilians also do not have very good English language skills, so you may need to learn Portuguese even in these big cities of Brazil. Brazilians are generally friendly and helpful to foreigners, but sometimes you may have communication problems. The great thing about the Brazilian cities of Sao Paulo and Rio is that most of the people you will meet are warm, friendly, and honest. Brazilians love life and they make you feel it too. This is a great opportunity to discover Brazilian culture and music. Living in Brazil is not easy, but if you have an adventurous spirit, these cities can offer you unforgettable experiences. When you look at the slums of Sao Paulo, Brazil, the first thing that catches your eye is the tangle of electric cables. These cables are connected to streets that are illegally supplied with electricity and illuminated by street lamps. These street lamps were installed thanks to the initiatives of women living in the neighborhood. However, these women have to live under pressure from electricity gangs. Since the Brazilian government does not provide adequate support to these favelas, people have become dependent on these gangs to survive. The houses in the favelas are usually 2 stories high and made of bricks. They look unpainted and neglected. The roads are not paved and the sewerage system is inadequate. In some places, there is a bad smell. Nevertheless, the beauty of these neighborhoods lies in their people. Especially the children are full of hope. They love playing football and dream of one day becoming a world-famous footballer. This dream is not impossible for them. Many footballers from both Brazil and Argentina have come out of the slums and made it to the world stage. One of the beauties of neighborhood life is that neighborly relations are strong. People living in the neighborhood support each other, share their troubles, and celebrate their joys. The number of people in the neighborhood is also small. In the past, such neighborhoods were not very crowded. There were only a few families and they all knew each other. But in big cities like Sao Paulo, it is very different. Here, more than 200,000 people live on the outskirts of the city where there is no infrastructure and no security. These people have migrated from the countryside to the city in the last 30 years. Their aim is to make a better life, to find work, to benefit from educational opportunities. However, living in these big cities is not easy and rents are very high. For this reason, they built shanty houses not near the city center, but in hilly areas they found empty. In time, these shanties grew and became big neighborhoods. If these people had not come from the countryside, perhaps they would have been condemned to poverty in the interior of Brazil. The interior of Brazil is very poor and comparable to some countries in Africa. Incidentally, these poor neighborhoods in cities like Sao Paulo are known to be very dangerous. Tourists try not to enter these neighborhoods, and if you do, the people there will look at you strangely and ask you what you are doing there, because they are not used to people coming from outside. Favelas are slums on the outskirts of large cities in Brazil. People living in favelas struggle with many problems such as poverty, crime, violence, and drugs. They think that they do not get enough support from the state to solve these problems. Some families decide to give their children up for adoption in Europe in order to live a better life. The biggest stakeholder of this program is Italy. The most famous city in Brazil is Rio de Janeiro. It has the second largest population in the country and is also the capital of its state. Rio de Janeiro is known for its natural beauty, beaches, carnivals, and passion for football. The city has the advantage over Sao Paulo that it is located on the Atlantic Ocean, so people don't have to travel far to enjoy the sea and the sun. Tourists to Brazil often want to visit both cities. However, there is a distance of 500 kilometers between them. You can cover this distance in 6 hours by car and 1 hour by plane. Although they look close on the map, Brazil is a very big country. If you have to choose one of the 2 cities, I recommend Rio de Janeiro, because this place has an atmosphere full of fun and enjoyment. Leblon Beach is one of the most popular places in the city. When you walk along the beach here, you will see that the crowd never ends. The Brazilian city of Rio de Janeiro is famous for having the most beautiful beaches in the world. These beaches dazzle with the whiteness of the sand, the clarity of the sea, and the brightness of the sun. The remarkable point is that people do not prefer the beach for swimming. They go there to sunbathe and chat with friends, so you can see mostly adults playing on the beach or just watching the sea. I don't know which country or culture you are traveling from, but if you go to the beaches of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, you should be used to seeing more naked people than usual, because Brazilian women like to be flamboyant and low-cut even in normal life, and they take it even further on the beaches. In these images, you can see Brazilian women of almost all ages. This may be to your taste, or on the contrary, it may be disturbing, but if you go there as a couple, you are likely to have jealousy crises. Of course, beaches are not the only places you can go in the city. For example, there is a region called Sugarloaf, and if you go up here, you can observe Rio de Janeiro from above in a magnificent way. If you are not afraid of plums, you can even go even higher by cable car and take the city under your feet. Moreover, the city is home to the statue of Christ the Redeemer, one of the 7 wonders of the world identified with Brazil. On the other hand, every year in February or March, the Rio Carnival, which is identified with the name of the city, is held right here, and this event is one of the biggest organizations in the country. This organization is literally the biggest festival in the world. Millions of people flock to the country just to see this carnival and witness the sambo-orientated dance performances in Rio de Janeiro with their own eyes. The purpose of the carnival is to celebrate the day when Jesus ascended to God. For this reason, Christians in the country start this carnival before Easter. The carnival is well attended and celebrates the ascension of Jesus with dances. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment. See you in the next video.